Hey guys, welcome to another video. We're gonna take a look at Heroes of the Storm today together. And Heroes of the Storm is the new project that Blizzard has. It is their MOBA game that they're currently developing. It's still in alpha stage, but we already have a little bit of material that we can work with. And you might be more familiar with it with the title Blizzard All-Stars, which was the original title that Blizzard was using for the game. Now it's called Heroes of the Storm, and it's actually pretty nifty. So it's a very hero-based MOBA game that we have, and it's of course going to be once again the more Blizzard style that we have. It's pretty awesome actually, I have to say, and we have a few videos that we can look at, so that's one of the things that we're going to do today. And we're going to jump right into the first battle here on Khaldor and take a closer look at what exactly Blizzard is doing these days with their development team. One of the first differences that we see right away is that Blizzard is going away from the typical one-map game that Dota 1 and Dota 2, of course, also League of Legends is. This is the Cursed Hallows, and it's a very objective-driven game. First of all, let's have a quick look at the heroes. One of the big things about Heroes of the Storm is, of course, that it combines three universes. We have a couple of Warcraft, a couple of Diablo 2 and 3, and also, of course, a few of the StarCraft characters in the game here. We have Abathur, we have Falstad, for example, there's Reyna, we have a Witch Doctor, we have Kerrigan, Tyrael, and also Tacita. So really, all that you wanted to ever to do. If you wanted to play a hero in one of the games, you can now do that, and you can battle it out against each other. It's very traditional with a 5 versus 5 game. And if you're not really that familiar with MOBAs, then this is probably a really good start for you, since it's very easy to get into the game itself. As you can already see, we have a few mounts for each hero, so that's just basically a way to move a little bit quicker on the map. You cannot really attack while you're on horseback, and it is to be expected that later on in the game Blizzard will actually introduce individual mounts for the heroes. Interestingly enough, not every hero has a mount. Some of the heroes do not have one, like for example Abathur, who's more of a support role in the game. Falstad, the Griffin Rider that he saw earlier, doesn't have one either. He has another ability that he can use there, and there are a couple of other heroes in the game. Right off the bat, we're having big battles here, and it's really right from the start, all non-stop action up to the end. Of course, we have the neutral creeps on the map too, but in this game, it's not really all about experience. Blizzard is taking a very new approach to the genre itself, where they removed experience from the creeps, from the neutral creeps on the map. Instead, you can just now defeat them and try to make them fight for you. And also the way that the lanes work is very different right now. As you can already see, we have for both sides just creeps that spawn and continuously attack, but it's more about the heroes. The creeps take a step back, if you so want, into the background. They're still important, but their importance is a little bit reduced, as you will see later on. There is no gold in this game, so it's not all about like farming gold and getting items, so the roles have a little bit changed. What Blizzard is trying to do here is develop a game that is really focusing on the heroes, their abilities, and also a couple of traits that they have, like special abilities that later on come into play. One thing that is very important, for example, is that as usually in a MOBA game, you also have like an ultimate. It's called the heroic ability in Heroes of the Storm, but it's the level 6 ability that you had back then in Warcraft 3 and now also have in a game like Dota. And the most important thing is that this ability usually shapes the character quite a bit. And in Heroes of the Storm, you can actually choose between abilities. Not only the ultimate, the heroic ability is something where several classes in the game itself, or several characters, have 2 or maybe even 3 that you can choose from later on. But that's also true for the rest of their skills that you can see at the bottom. So it's very traditional in the sense that you have your 4 skills in general. But it already starts to deviate a little bit, since every hero has now several roles that he can play in the game itself. So a really important thing. You can also see on screen, of course, right now that there's a lot of action already going on in the game. One of the things that's really important here is also that experience is shared. So you always want to have a hero on each lane, so that when creeps die, that you gain the experience. This is still something that happens. Like the creeps that spawn for each side, they still give experience to the players. This is of course one of the things that we are currently seeing on screen right now that is very typical to the map itself. On Cursed Hallows, you want to, as soon as those tributes spawn, just gain control over them, and every time you get a tribute, that just adds up, and once you have 3, there's this curse on the game, this global event, if so you so want, that happens, and that reduces hit points of all the minions that you see there. So it's really important to do that, and that is one of the things that Blizzard is really trying to achieve with that game, and where they are starting another new approach to the genre itself. It's very objective driven, and it's not so much about leveling your hero for like 15 minutes and then finally get the carries into a position where they can really do their damage. This is more about like going for the objective all the time and really just trying to go for that. Once again, really nice engagement here. We could already see a really nice skill shot here by our sniper, by Nova, that we have. So very well done here with the roller skate outfit in this case. The red team just gathered one of the tributes, and that's a really important thing to just remember, because it's going to come into play a little bit later on the road. You can also see the kill count at the top, but once again, there we have Falstad, as I mentioned earlier. He doesn't really have a mount. In this case, he's just flying over obstacles from one point on the map to another. So this is also a little bit of uniqueness that is added to the game. The tower that you see here works really, it works very different from what we've seen in like LoL and also like Dota 2. The towers have actually ammunition, so you want to keep the creeps away from the towers. If you compare that to Dota 2, you always try to really pull the creeps into your tower so that the tower helps you out. It's much more difficult for your opponent's heroes to engage in tower range, and then the tower itself, of course, helps you out, gives you the additional safety that you want, and helps you out with the creeps as well. In this case, if you have the creeps too close to your own tower, your opponent's creeps, of course, that is, then you suddenly are in a position where you're going to run out of ammunition for the towers that will regain that ammunition over time, but you really want to make sure that that doesn't happen, because then the towers become useless, they become vulnerable, and that's a big problem. Once again, really nice fight here. Oh, Illidan just jumping away in the last second, but we already have Tyrell on the fall, linked up with Nova here. Nova with the skill shots could actually do a lot of damage here with another snipe, not really able to get that off, and suddenly we have Falstad also joining the battle, but also Reyna coming in from behind, trying to do his damage here. Really a lot of action going on in the game already. Both teams are really starting to do a lot of damage, since their skills, they scale over time. If you gain a new level in Heroes of the Storm, your 4 skills that you control, the Q, W, E, and R, they don't really level up in the traditional sense where you put skill points in, but they scale. So you choose those skills at the beginning, and then you have several other abilities that you can later on just develop over time. This is the new system that Blizzard tried to implement here, and they're still working on that, trying to make the game diverse. Because of course at first when you listen to what's going on in the game right now and what's going on in Heroes of the Storm generally, you're like, wait a second, there's no gold, there's no money, I cannot get any items that I can buy, and that seems a little bit like really I want to say shallow, like it seems to be a little bit boring, but in the end actually Blizzard is just really trying with traits and abilities and skills, trying to develop a system that will still give you the in-depth experience that you want from a MOBA, where you can then really develop your character and have a very unique position in the game. And so far I have to say that the positions that the characters have are actually pretty cool. Then we saw another level up, and it hit both heroes of course at the same time, since as I mentioned earlier, the experience is shared globally, so you always want to have heroes in the heat of the battle somewhere to just get that experience. That's a really important thing to happen there. Now once again the mounts being used to be a little bit more active on the map, to change the lanes, to maybe get into position for an ambush, and oh wow, that witch doctor definitely was out of position there, get gangbanged immediately, and especially Illidan is an incredible strong hero when it's going into the 1 versus 1 combat. He is super strong in those situations. Reyna on the other hand, definitely not a pushover himself, but against 4 heroes there's nothing that he can do. Jamal moving in there as well, and here we have suddenly now the first tribute gathered by the blue team. So this is where things are starting to get really interesting. It's not only about like farming your hero up and then getting into a position to take down towers for money. This is more like, yes, being on the map, gathering experience, trying to push your opponent back and getting those towers, but then it's also an issue of getting these tributes. And this is a perfect example, by the way, for the neutral creeps. These 2 bad boys have been defeated earlier, and now they are fighting for the red team here. And they're a little bit like a siege unit, so they are trying to take down structures, which they're currently focused on. They have a bigger range than towers as well, and that's exactly what they're doing right now. And this is also why we have the blue team now moving in immediately to take those 2 down. You don't want to have those fighting for your opponent's team. There we have a little bit of a rainbow pony moving in, and whoa, Reyna going for his heroic ability here, calling in the Hyperion. You see the shadow on the ground, dishing out damage to the enemy heroes and structures, doing a lot of damage here. and all of the characters by now have their heroic ability, and this is where shit hits the fan. Everybody just jumping in and doing the damage. Another tribute about to spawn, but at this point we have the blue team just pushing in, trying to do what they can. And on the other hand, oh, Tacita needs to be careful. Same is true for Tyrael. Trying to move back here, but Nova to save the day with her sniping abilities. She's really trying to make that work now and pushing the opponent's team back. Most of the characters in the game right now have an area of effect ability, which helps them farm a little bit, which helps them to really do damage against the opponent's creeps. Most of them have also a skill shot that is really a little bit more difficult to hit, and of course then also does more damage. But it is, of course, once again, the heroic ability, the ultimate, that really defines a hero, where you can really do a lot. And once again, we have another small battle going on. We have for a second here, yep, Demon Hunter tries to get away, but not able to do that in time. Was really well done here by the red team. And now it's once again time for Reyna, and here we go. Tyrion also trying to go in, and BAM! In your face! There goes Falstad. No chance of escaping there, actually. Illidan, on the other hand, could escape for now. At the top you see that both teams have now level 12 heroes, and levels are really coming into play, as I said, because the skills that he chose, the abilities, they really scale over time, and that's a very, very important point, since you always want to get that level advantage over your opponent. These gates cannot be passed, by the way, which you might have seen already early on, so you can always just retreat behind them, and then you can just mana up again, get your hit points back, and then go straight into the battle once more. But the forts are already being attacked. The ammunition of the towers is dropping low now that the creeps are entering the range, and this one tower will not have any ammunition in just a second. That's the case right now, so it's completely useless. Once again, we have Reyna with a Hyperion using his heroic ability, doing a lot of damage there, especially to the structures, and both of the towers are nearly down. The blue team is trying to do what it can to really save those towers, but things are not looking good for them. Tribute about to spawn in just a few seconds. So far both teams have two. They need that important third one, and here we go again as the red team is trying to counter push, but we already, sorry, the blue team of course, but the red team is still in position where they can hold their structures. Here comes the tribute, and this is once again one of those really objective driven games where both of the teams are trying to go in. Here's already Illidan trying to gather that tribute, and it looks like he's gonna be able to do that. No! Tacita in the last second moving in with the skill and preventing that, but he has really a tough time using another one of his abilities to block the path of the two blue team heroes. But yep, here we go. We have immediately that third tribute gathered by Illidan in the second attempt, and now for 1 minute there's a curse on all of the minions of the red team. Towers not shooting at this point. The minions already down to very little health, so they can't really assist. And this is exactly the time that you want to use, you want to utilize as the blue team to push in, to do damage, to go in and take down the force, and that's exactly what happened here at the bottom lane. The blue team doing a lot of work here, trying to really make that work for them. Once again, here we have also two additional heroes for the blue team. And one of the things that you have maybe seen a bit earlier is there's one weird Zergy thingy hovering over a hero every now and then. That's actually Abathur. That's one of the heroes that has really a support class in the game. And here we have another big team fight. Once again, down. Abathur already leaving his mark, but here comes Illidan, and bam, with a flip over the hero, cutting its path of retreat off, and immediately delivering the last hit as well. Really well done here. Once again, going for the mount, trying to change the lanes. At the bottom, we are in the middle of the map. We have another fort being attacked here. The curse is about to end, and that it finally restores the hit points of the red team creeps back to full HP. So that's going to help him quite a bit. But they are really in a lot of trouble right now. Reyna once more with the Hyperion and pushing the blue team back here, doing a very good job at that, and trying to also hunt down one of the heroes. Not quite able to really do that, so not in a position where he can achieve that just yet. But let's see, maybe a little bit down the road they can start their comeback. And that's actually one of the things that's very important in Heroes of the Storm, because you don't have this snowball effect that you see in other MOBAs, where a team is really getting so far ahead that comebacks are still possible, but oftentimes very unlikely, just because you lost map control, you are behind with several levels, your opponent was able to farm, has his carry in a really good position. In Hero of the Storm, that really focuses on levels, you get behind, but it is not as significant as in other games, so the comeback potential here is much, much bigger. Another thing that I really want to highlight is that Blizzard is aiming for 20-minute games with their matches, and that is absolutely important because, in my personal opinion, one of the biggest problems that games like League of Legends and Dota 2 suffer from is that as a viewer, the games take a little bit too long. If you think about a single map that usually goes like 40 minutes, sometimes even longer than that, and then a best of 3 or a best of 5, maybe even a best of 7, that's an incredible amount of time that the entire team has to spend on the viewer as well. With Blizzard aiming for games that are very fast-paced and that go straight into like 20-minute games, 25-minute games, it adds something a little bit more unique to the entire genre, where I could definitely see that playing a huge role later on in how viewers approach the entire game. It's also, of course, great as a player because you can just drop in and play a game every now and then, and you don't have to reserve this much time to really get a match in. A few people will like that, I personally do. I guess a few others will disagree. Here we have once again, by the way, the creeps being like taken down and then fighting for the team that was able to defeat them. So really important there as well. But yeah, for me personally, that aspect with the time is really important, since I really want to see Heroes of the Storm also in, let's say, for example, esports. And for esports, I feel that does quite a lot. Well, at this point we have once again the red team under a lot of pressure. The blue team is definitely not fooling around here. They still want to do as much as possible, and of course what they have to do is gather also a few tributes, since at this point the red team is ahead with 2-1. Blue finally able to get one of them. Here comes Abathur. He can't really do a whole lot. He's a support hero. He jumps into heroes and then he helps them out. And it's actually a very unique character. He's usually sitting behind towers. And the way that he works is that you jump into a hero and you cannot control the hero or anything, but you will always be present with your own abilities that you can use in the fight. So you cannot control this hero's movements, but you have your own unique set of skills that you can utilize in the fight. So there we could see a lot of good team play coming from really developed teams, and you can, for example, play with a friend and do that. You can use those abilities in the battle, which means that basically 2 heroes are present, but it's just one that is being attacked and of course then is also controlling the movements. At this point now, with level 17 versus 15, red definitely has a bit of an advantage here. So you need to keep in mind once more that all these abilities scale up, of course, and this is going to be very important. But we have still red with a comeback potential. Blue, on the other hand, is doing a very, very good job at pushing here, and it's all about the tributes on the other hand now. And it looks very much like we're going to see a 3rd tribute actually for the red team, and that's going to help them a lot actually. Bam! There we go. The blue team is cursed, and that's exactly what they should have prevented. With the map control that they had and all that pushing ability, for them it would have been much smarter to really control the map, control those spawn points for the tributes, and try to carry that advantage into the late game. They didn't really do that, and now they are opening up a bit of a timing for the red team to really do damage and go in and take a few kills on their own. One tower already killed by the creeps on the left side of the map. Here we go once again with especially, of course, Falstad and the Demon Hunter trying to do that damage here. Vala the Demon Hunter is trying to go in, and she has a lot of damage potential. She's a hero that has a lot of DPS, but Reyna here having a great game so far. Falstad completely out of position, is able to get back in just a second, but so far the red team is pushing in and doing a lot of damage here to the blue team. Blue is already on the move back. They have to be careful here. Abathur jumped into Falstad, is trying his best. On the other hand, Tyrael is able to survive here for just another second, trying to escape, but there are way too many heroes for the red team around, trying to take him down. Actually, that was a retarded comment because he's a hero of the red team. My bad, sorry. But yeah, they're going straight for the blue team now. But the curse is already ended. Not really a lot accomplished. Nice trap here. Really well done, but in the end, not taking the hero down. Take him out of the fight for a second. Once again, Illidan. And Illidan is such a fun hero to play, guys. He's basically one of those heroes that always wants to go toe-to-toe with the opposing team's heroes. He's always jumping in. He has a curse mark that he can use on enemy heroes. And once you are cursed, once you are affected by the curse mark, most of the skills that Illidan has do extra damage or slow you when he attacks you. There's a lot that he can do here. So a lot of stuff that Blizzard really came up with that's currently very unique, and that's is going to be a lot of fun. You have to keep in mind though that this is still an alpha version, so there is still a lot of things that Blizzard didn't really finish just yet. It's just a little bit of a sneak peek that we get there, trying to look at the game and of course also helping them out with a little bit of feedback there. But so far the game is looking like a lot of fun. Blue is once again doing what they did the entire game. They are pushing and they are going ham, trying to take those forts down, and then in the end you want to go and take down the palace. That's the main objective objective in the game, kill that so important structure. But so far the blue team is once again going in, and we already have the Hyperion, but it's countered immediately by Falstad's ultimate here. Really well done by him, a great job. And of course we have Abathur also being present. He's currently jumped into Falstad, doing its damage. On the other hand, wow, heroic ability of the Witch Doctor going in and pushing the entire blue team back. We had Jim Rayner trying to save the day, but he already died here. And of course now once more we have 1 hero down for the red team, 2 for the blue team. Both of the teams are still on level 19, and if you look at the kill count, it's still very, very even with 19 to 14. But still at the edge, a massive advantage here for the blue team still. They are continuously pushing here. And it looks like we are seeing in the middle of the map another creep camp being attacked, and there's a second one as well. Once more we have the ogres coming into the picture, and they can do a lot of damage against the structures, as we mentioned already earlier. In terms of like tributes, we don't have anything just yet, but it looks very much to me like we are gonna see another battle, since we have here at the top Falstad just waiting, not doing anything here just yet, still waiting a little bit, not getting caught out of position here, really important for him. But Illidan on the other hand, he's moving towards that massive siege golem that we have there. And well, level 22 solo, that's when you can really take down one of those rock golems yourself, or one of those siege golems on your own. Usually you need your team for that. There's a tribute spawn as we speak, and well, that one is going to be harvested pretty soon. One of the things that I'm probably going to miss a little bit in Heroes of the Storm, if you compare it to Dota, is that without items, the ward game is completely obsolete. Like, it's non-existent. Like, you don't have wards on the map that really grant you vision. The only thing you have is basically an equivalent to the StarCraft 2 Xel'Naga Watchtower that a team can control when they position a hero there for just a little bit and take a claim to that tower. So that helps a little bit, but we won't see like that ward game that we have in a big Dota 2 match, and that's a little bit sad. But on the other hand, it's a very different game. If you play Heroes of the Storm, it feels very, very different than the MOBAs that we currently have. Once more, we have both teams with a lot of like neutral creeps that they're using here. Here we have already a siege golem for the red team taking down the tower of the blue team without any trouble whatsoever. But blue is pushing on the out, and a big fight is already occurring here to the right side of the map. This is the last stand for the red team. They already lost one of their heroes. Tyrell went down here, and the rest is pushed back as well. One of the siege golems already attacking the palace. Blue losing one of their heroes too, but they are in such a great position right now. That siege golem alone is already doing so much damage, and we have Illidan once again going straight for the objective. He's not even trying to bother with the opponent's heroes, but here comes Vala taking down 2, double kill, and only the Witch Doctor is alive, but it doesn't matter anymore since we already see that palace crumble. So as you can see, it's a very, very fast-paced game, and that just took like 20 minutes what we saw there. We focused a little bit of a few comparison and to give you a quick idea of what Heroes is actually about, and not really that much into the gameplay itself. So we're probably going to talk about that in one of the upcoming casts that we have. What's really important for me to just give you on your way now as well is that this is only one map. Blizzard is not going into this traditional thinking where they say like, okay, we have one map and that's the map that's going to be played over and over again. They're trying to find an approach where they have a an objective driven game that is then being played out on several maps. So each and every map that they're currently developing has a very unique approach to it, and has usually objectives within the map, within the game, that you should try to accomplish as a team because they give you an advantage. And this is also something that we're going to highlight in the next cast that we're going to do for that, when we're probably also going to focus a little bit more on the gameplay itself. This was basically just a sneak preview how exactly Heroes of the Storm currently looks like. The game is still in an alpha, there's no beta out there just yet, and it's supposed to be, I guess, released either at the end of this year or maybe at the beginning of next year. Blizzard hasn't really set up anything about that, and when they do, it's probably going to be like, yeah, it's going to be released soon TM. That's probably all that they're going to do about that. But yeah, so I hope that it helped you a little bit. I hope that you had a little bit of an idea, or like took a bit of something away from that, have an idea of what exactly Heroes of the Storm is, what you can expect when the game is being released. Gonna be pretty eager to keep you guys updated, and of course I'm also going to try to get my hands on the beta so that I can get you those updates quite frequently. For now we're going to focus on the material that Blizzard leaves with us in the alpha state of the game. They released one additional video that we're going to cast very soon, and I certainly hope that they're going to introduce several more maps and will also give us broadcasters a bit of material that we can then work with. But that's it for the day. I hope that you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think about the game. Let me know what you think it can do in esports. If it's going to be an esports title, if it's going to be a bit more of a casual thing, or what your expectations are for the game. I would be certainly interested to see what you guys think. So drop a comment in the YouTube comments, like that thing, and also subscribe to the channel. I'm going to see you guys soon. Have a good day. Bye bye.